Welcome to the Dry Crusade, the Temperance Movement, and the rise and fall of Prohibition. Today is the 106th anniversary of nationwide Prohibition's start. We dive into one of America's most ambitious social experiments. It began with a moral firestorm against alcohol, fueled by reformers who dreamed of a sober utopia. But what started as a noble cause spiraled into crime, corruption, and chaos, leading to its dramatic undoing. This is the story of the Temperance Movement, how it pushed a nation to ban booze, enforced that ban through the 18th Amendment, and why it all came crashing down with repeal in 1933. This journey through history reveals lessons that echo even today. Our story begins in the early 19th century amid the dust and grit of a rapidly industrializing America. The young republic was booming, factories humming, immigrants arriving in waves, and saloons popping up on every corner. But with progress came peril. Alcohol consumption was sky high. By 1830, the average American over 15 drank about 7 gallons of pure alcohol a year, 3 times today's rate. Whiskey was cheaper than tea or milk, and it flowed freely in workplaces, politics, and homes. This liquid excess bred misery. Domestic violence surged, families shattered, workplaces turned hazardous. Enter the Temperance Movement, a grassroots crusade born from the Second Great Awakening, a religious revival sweeping the nation in the 1790s and early 1800s. Evangelical Protestants saw drunkenness as a sin that drags souls to hell and society into ruin. Preachers like Lyman Beecher thundered from pulpits, warning of alcohol's demonic grip. The first organized effort sprouted in 1808 with the Union Temperance Society in Saratoga, New York. By 1826, the American Temperance Society formed in Boston, pushing for voluntary abstinence. Their weapon? The Pledge, a solemn vow to shun spirits. Within a decade, over 1 million Americans signed on, including future presidents like Abraham Lincoln. Temperance wasn't just about sobriety. It was a moral reform tied to abolitionism and education. But early on, it focused on moderation. Beer and wine were often spared, with hard liquor as the villain. Yet, as immigration swelled, bringing Irish whiskey lovers and German brewers, the movement hardened. By the 1840s, temperance advocates demanded total prohibition, coining teetotalism, from a stammering speaker who emphasized teetotal abstinence. The temperance movement might have fizzled out without its most passionate warriors, women. In the Victorian era, ladies were expected to tend the hearth, but alcohol's toll on homes, abusive husbands, starving children, ignited a feminist fire. Women couldn't vote, but they could pray, protest, and organize. The spark came in 1873 in Hillsboro, Ohio. Dr. Diocletian Lewis, a traveling lecturer, inspired women to march on saloons. What followed was the Women's Crusade. Thousands of housewives armed with Bibles and hymns besieged bars across the Midwest. They'd kneel outside singing "Rescue the Perishing" until owners surrendered or closed shop. In one town, they even prayed a salon keeper into bankruptcy. This holy insurgency birthed the Women's Christian Temperance Union in 1874, founded in Cleveland. Under the visionary Frances Willard, who became president in 1879, the WCTU ballooned to 150,000 members by the 1890s, the largest women's organization in the world. Willard was a powerhouse, eloquent, strategic, and radical. She linked temperance to home protection, arguing that booze destroyed families, and women needed the vote to fight it. Her motto, "Do everything." The WCTU lobbied for suffrage, child labor laws, prison reform, and even kindergartens, all under the temperance umbrella. But not all were subtle. Enter Carrie Nation, the hatchet-wielding icon. A Kansas farm wife scarred by an alcoholic first husband. Nation claimed divine orders to smash saloons. From 1900 to 1910, she stormed bars with her hatchetation, cleaving kegs and mirrors while quoting scripture. Arrested over 30 times, she sold miniature hatchets as souvenirs to fund her cause. Nation embodied the movement's zeal and its extremism. Through these women, temperance evolved from sermons to street action, empowering females in a male-dominated world and paving the way for the 19th Amendment's women's suffrage in 1920. By the late 1800s, temperance had local wins. Maine banned alcohol sales in 1851, inspiring Maine laws in a dozen states. But saloons, over 300,000 nationwide, fought back. Backed by brewers like Anheuser-Busch, the movement needed a political machine. Enter the Anti-Saloon League, founded in 1893 in Oberlin, Ohio. Unlike the WCTU's broad agenda, the ASL was laser-focused. Destroy the saloon through legislation. Led by cunning Wayne Wheeler, it pioneered modern lobbying. Wheeler's tactics? Pressure politics. Track politicians' votes, endorse dry candidates regardless of party, and mobilize churches as voting blocks. With a card index system, pre-computer database, they targeted wets relentlessly. The ASL slogan, "The saloon must go." They exploited anti-immigrant nativism, painting German and Irish drinkers as un-American. World War I supercharged this. Grain for beer was seen as unpatriotic amid food shortages, and anti-German hysteria targeted breweries. By 1916, 23 states were dry. The ASL pushed Congress for a constitutional amendment. In December 1917, the 18th Amendment passed both houses, banning the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors. Ratified by 46 states in just 13 months. On January 16, 1919, it took effect 1 year later, on January 17, 1920. The Volstead Act, named for ASL ally Andrew Volstead, defined intoxicating as over 0.5% alcohol and set enforcement rules. President Woodrow Wilson vetoed the Volstead Act, but Congress overrode him. America was officially dry. Temperance had won, or so it seemed. Midnight, January 16, 1920, mourners held mock funerals for John Barleycorn, the spirit of booze. Saloons shuttered. Breweries pivoted to ice cream. The temperance movement celebrated. Crime would drop. Families heal. Productivity soar. Reality? Chaos. Enforcement was underfunded. Only 1,500 federal agents for a nation of 106 million people. Bootleggers filled the void. Homemade bathtub gin, Canadian rum runners, and speakeasies multiplied. Drinking didn't stop, it went underground. Glamorized in the roaring 20s. Organized crime exploded. Al Capone's Chicago outfit raked in $60 million yearly from illegal booze. Fueling gang wars like the 1929 St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Corruption tainted everyone. Cops, judges, even Prohibition agents took bribes. The government poisoned industrial alcohol to deter diversion, killing thousands from tainted drinks. Women, once temperance's backbone, splintered. Pauline Sabin, a Republican socialite, founded the Women's Organization for National Prohibition Reform in 1929, arguing the ban bred hypocrisy and lawlessness. Public opinion soared, especially during the Great Depression. Lost alcohol taxes, once 14% of federal revenue, hurt a cash-strapped government. The Wickersham Commission, appointed by President Hoover in 1929, exposed Prohibition's failures. It didn't curb drinking and boosted crime. Franklin Delano Roosevelt rode the repeal wave to the White House in 1932, promising what America needs now is a drink. In March 1933, he legalized 3.2% beer, a quick economic boost. By December 5, 1933, Utah ratified the 21st Amendment, repealing the 18th, the only amendment ever undone. Repeal was swift. States regained control, ending federal overreach. The temperance movement faded, but its spirit lingered in groups like Alcoholics Anonymous, founded in 1935, and modern sobriety efforts. The temperance movement's zeal enacted prohibition, but its rigidity led to repeal. It empowered women, reformed society, yet showed the perils of moral absolutism. As we mark this anniversary, remember, good intentions can brew unintended storms. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more history deep dives. What area should we cover next?